campus feminism is not cancer, but madness. Utter madness. No, listen, this is very important. Future historians are going to look back at what...
Excluding true women of color!
Please,
future generations will look back...
I'm sorry.
3 strikes, we're out, darling.
One more disruption and we'd have to ask you to leave the venue.
My free speech!
You have to obey the rules of the venue.
But this is free speech if you're so concerned!
Please keep your comments. Please keep your comments to the Q&A section. Thank you.
Keep your hate speech out of this campus! Keep your hate speech out of this campus! Keep your hate speech out of this campus!
We're here at a demonstration of utter madness. It's going to be impossible for future historians to understand what happened on the American campus this decade. I mean, we have campuses across the country. We have armies and... Let's use our quiet voices, please. Calm down.
Stop talking to us like children!
Stop acting like a child. What I'm talking about, speakers are not only disinvited, but when they're invited, people come in to disrupt. They don't want others to hear. We have... Look, I'm the wrong person to be... Wait, save it when Milo comes back. Okay. On campuses across the country, speech, ideas, sexuality, humor, it's being, there's censorship. Freedom of expression is being replaced by the right to feel comfortable. There's an absurd and manipulative vocabulary that has materialized, trigger warnings, safe spaces, microaggressions. Now, I first encountered this madness last year when I visited Oberlin and Georgetown University. Now, I'm a philosophy professor. I've been in universities most of my life, and I never encountered what I'm seeing here tonight, but it was much worse at Oberlin. You're doing well compared to Oberlin and Georgetown. And as a philosophy professor, partial to logic and rules of evidence, I was disturbed at just this... At both schools, and students organized a safe space where they could flee if someone was panicked by my words. And during my talk, 30 women and a therapy dog fled to a safe space. I triggered a dog. I feel bad about that. Now,
You're triggering another dog!
Now, wait. In 2015, there was a conference in London of feminist leaders from all over Great Britain, and the participants were advised not to clap. They were told that clapping could be trigger anxiety or pain in speakers. Instead, the conference attendees were told to use something called feminist jazz hands. Very good. What is not cool are efforts to censor, to silence. And what really amazes me is that in their war against intolerance, these campus activists, they've taken on the extremes of intolerance. They demonize, they otherize, they attempt to censor. I demonstrate it here. And they're not even nice. They're not even nice to each other. And they do. What you're doing is hateful. What you're doing it's not civil.
Please, if everybody could quiet down. These are our guests. We'd like to allow them to speak.
Now, where did it all come from? What created some of the forces you see in this room? What created it? How did it happen? will tell you, at least the feminist dimension goes back to the early 1990s when the seeds of today's intolerant, censoring, victim-focused activism, when they were planted. It was 1992, and I attended the annual meetings of the National Women's Studies Association in Austin, Texas. And I was there not so much to participate, but to observe. I was writing an article. I was working on my book, Who Stole Feminism? And I was persuaded that this conference would provide some interesting material. Now, the conference organizers had imbibed the lessons of a theory of feminism known as intersectionality. So on the first day, participants were instructed to break down into little groups based on their grievances and healing needs. So there was a group for Asian American women, African American women, old women, Jewish women, disabled women, fat women. None of... It was then.
Oh, it is.
It was then.
There is, of course, a point at
women.
which you can't tell there's women anymore, but believe me, it is a category of women.
Milo. Well, wait, let me tell my story. None of these groups proved stable. They all started to bicker. Members of the overweight group bickered because there was a straight and a gay faction. Members of the black lesbian group could not get along. Some of them had white partners. They were called out for their privilege, and they formed a separate group. And new identities emerged. A group of women with allergies formed, and they issued a set of demands telling us not to wear dry, clean clothing or hairspray. And it was a victimology. It was a victimology spinning out of control. It was a victimology devouring itself. Now, I ended up bonding with a group of radical lesbian separatists. I don't have that identity, but they all smoked. And by the end of the conference, I needed a cigarette. That was 1992. These eccentric women and other like-minded colleagues would spend the next 25 years using their classroom to help students see the world the way they did. At the same time, they were writing articles, books, attending conferences, task force, working groups, just a tsunami of activism. And they developed a set of advocacy statistics, victim statistics to complement their oppression theories. 1 in 4 women will be raped, 2 in 3 battered, cheated out of 25% of their salaries, and that's only if they're not already dead from an eating disorder in vain efforts to meet patriarchal standards of beauty. All of these claims are reckless exaggerations. And they have been repeated so often, they are now, in some places, beyond the reach of rational analysis. Now, this is an important part of my story. None of this would have mattered had normal academic controls been in place. Academia is full of enthusiasts with odd ideas. But if they go in for conspiracy theories and baseless statistics, they're going to get pushback from colleagues. We have a system of quality control. It's called criticism and peer review. That system has broken down when it comes to gender studies. Those women in Austin, their beliefs, their methods, their overall weirdness, they were easily as off-centered as, say, Scientology. But a group of Scientologists would not get very far in the modern academy. The academy is well protected from that. But because these women were marching under the wholesome banner of feminism, and because opposing them would seem like you were being anti-woman, they faced little opposition. Many scholars just ran for cover. So their influence has grown. And now look what we have. What we have, and I'm going to end here. Today, gender scholars, along with risk-averse campus administrators and mischievous, credulous students, have formed an axis of intolerance. Now, so justifying your ageism. I happen to be a cisgendered lady of a certain age with serious rotator cuff issues, okay? So, today's millennials, you're going to have to decide, is yours going to be the generation that stands by as your basic freedoms are stripped away, where you can't go and hear a speaker? My best guess is that the millennials, like every generation before them, they're going to rally, they're going to defend their liberties, and I already see signs of resistance. I just hope it's not too late. Thank you.